Y'all can't see the mic, but it's red today because the market's red. Gold is down, Nasdaq is down, Nvidia is down, Bitcoin is down under 100,000. Bitcoin is sitting at 95,000 right now. I don't know what there is to do really. The market's breaking down. I'm not gonna buy it right now. We've had what, 3 days of downward pressure so far? Let me see. Hold on. Here's the Nasdaq. That $600 level in the NQ is important too. Or on the QQQ. But man, what a bloody day. I guess yesterday and today was red. Let me see what the Nasdaq looking like. Okay, the Nasdaq has had 3 red days in a row. Yesterday's was a big red day. We're down significantly in pre-market this morning. Yeah. Again, we're supposed to have PPI and retail sales coming out today. I don't think we're going to get it. Again, stock futures down this morning. Big tech earnings fears and really just overvaluation fears is really what this is. The BLS and BEA are not releasing any data today. The first priority is the backlog. If we look at the BLS, they did finally update their site. And they basically said that the revised news release dates following the 2025 lapse in appropriations, the announced news release on this page has become available, you know, but they haven't really announced any data yet. We're supposed to get PPI inflation today. Again, we're not getting it. We're just not getting it. I wish we did, but I don't think we do. Again, producer prices. We're also supposed to get retail sales. I think that's done by the Census Bureau. Retail sales. Like every month they publish this, which is the advanced monthly sales for retail and food services. But I don't think we're getting this report either today. But next week we should have some updates on when we're getting all this stuff. Next week's probably going to be really busy. Yeah. Is it time to buy right now? All right, let me give 3 options in the poll. Is it time to buy right now is what I'm asking. One of the options is yes. The other one is no, it's too scary. And then there's another option. I don't know why I threw that in there. It's time to wait. Yeah, let me know what you guys think. I don't know, maybe UPS, ECA. At this stage, you should wait to see some kind of upside correction. This could be deeper correction. Yeah, remember, guys, I'm not an investment professional. I'm not liable if you lose. Understand all this stuff on screen. I can't guarantee anything. Don't copy me. But yeah. Crypto, man. Look at Bitcoin right here. Bitcoin at 95. Scary. Scary. Again, we got a lot of fear yesterday about the labor market. Crypto markets have now erased over $1 trillion since the beginning of October. $1 trillion. Again, we had some Fed members speak yesterday. And I think that's what scared a lot of people. Some people think a recession is coming. I'm looking at an article on Yahoo Finance. The report basically says that the wealthiest Americans are driving the bulk of consumption. They say the K-shaped economy. The tendency is to think that markets might be in trouble if those big spenders pull back. The pressure felt by the lower rungs can have its own cascading effect, and we might be heading towards a recession, essentially is what they're saying. Let me know if you guys agree. If you look at gold here, gold is breaking down as we speak as well. Look at gold. It's at 41.16 right now. 41.16. NASDAQ under 24,750. I've given up on buying this dip. I'm just waiting here. I'm in a small position on Meta and some other stuff, but it's small and I'm not going to add to them for sure. But yeah, markets are definitely fearful this morning. Looking at the poll numbers initially, 45% say yes, it is the time to buy. 35% say it's time to wait. 20% says no, it's too scary. Yeah, I heard we might start seeing margin calls and stuff. That's why most of my positions are in bonds right now. I haven't really felt comfortable buying up much at these levels. I just haven't. It doesn't mean we're not going to run, but I ended up going into bonds a little bit more heavily the last few months. And I think that made sense. I don't have to worry about corrections there. And, you know, AMD down to 240s. Look at Nvidia all the way back down to 180s. And this is after it got back over 200 a couple weeks, like a week, 4 days ago. It got back over 200s. Watch this 178 level. Look at this level right here on Nvidia. This 17, like basically 179 is the low of the last week plus on Nvidia. Might be relevant right now, might be relevant. The low of the last week. You can see the Russell, a lot of stuff's breaking down again. Gold, Bitcoin, indexes. Here's the Russell. Look at the Russell. It's getting destroyed too. Wait, what is it? RTY. Down to 23s. Do you think AI is replacing jobs, or do you think the shutdown is replacing jobs? Or not replacing, but just, you know, affecting the numbers. Yesterday, we did have a couple Fed speakers. Let me make sure this is right. Yeah, Michael Saylor just posted HODL, H-O-D-L, and a lifeboat on the Titanic, kind of type of AI picture. What is his average? It's like 75,000. Again, Nvidia down over 3% in pre-market this morning. Still dropping. Again, watch this 179 level. It's the low of the last like week. So probably longer than that. Let me see. This is the low of the last 175 area is the low of the last like month and a half. So the 170s to 180s is big. We'll see if we bounce here though. Again, Palantir all the way down to 160s. Low job growth. AI is only taking a job in niche areas. I don't know. It's taking software jobs, certainly. Taking software jobs. Palantir just cracked lows of the day again, too. Look, here's Palantir. Again, Palantir, you know, it's breaking lows as well. Michael Burry, I have spoken about him a lot. I don't know. I've heard different things. I don't know if he covered his positions or not. I know he took his fund private. He closed down his fund, and he's probably trading with his own money now. In regards to his short positions, he still thinks the markets are overvalued, I think. And so the question is, did he miss out on the run, or did he enter back in person with his own money? And that's the question. And now that he doesn't have to file filings, we don't really know. We're not really gonna know, I think. This is what he did back in 2008, I think, as well. A lot of people think there's gonna be a rotational shift from gold to Bitcoin soon. Yeah, so we had Susan Collins speak yesterday, Wednesday, November. Wait, yesterday wasn't Wednesday. Mary Daly spoke on the 13th. We also had Susan Collins speak on the 12th. Reports summarized her hawkish comments, which favored a pause, which were widely circulated yesterday, November 13th. So hawkish Boston Fed member Susan Collins. We also had Bostic. I think he announced he was stepping down soon or something like that, if I remember correctly. I think it was Bostic. He spoke on Wednesday as well. He had hawkish comments also. So again, Collins and Daly, or no, Collins and Bostic spoke yesterday, were hawkish. Again, how much is the NASDAQ down? Let me look at the percentage basis on how much stuff is down today. So, okay, so the NASDAQ, just relative to the close yesterday was right around 25,000. So 25,087 is where it closed yesterday. It's now down at 24,760s. 24,765 is what we'll do. This is a 1.3% drop on the NASDAQ. So the NASDAQ's down 1.3%. SPY is down from 670 all the way down to 666. It is down about 0.9% on the SPY. If we take a look at the Dow, you know, a lot of people have been rotating into the Dow out of tech because the Dow is less tech heavy. The Dow's down only about 0.6%. So the Dow a little bit more resilient. It looks like crypto's down drastically though, percentage wise. So no, I told people I think markets could be overvalued. I don't know when we're going to correct. This is my thesis over this correction has been pretty clean the whole time. It's basically been, I don't know if we're going to correct, even if we are overvalued. Sometimes it takes years, or it might happen tomorrow. But, you know, I think what I've been saying is that there's certainly some parallels between the .com crash and today. But that doesn't mean we're going to correct today. You know, and really what I've been saying is, like, I think a 10% correction is healthy. Like, I think we almost need to correct something like that just to get people's mind right, kind of, if that makes sense. Like, I think if we continue going up despite these valuations, it's much more likely that we're going to see a big bubble burst, like a big crash or correction, versus if we correct small amounts and then stabilize it, we might be in better shape. But even still, we might not be. I'm not sure. I said it all the time. Why would you cut rates? Well, because if not, we might be headed towards a recession based off of labor numbers. And at a certain point, the priority has to become the labor market, because if not, we go into a recession, you know. And so you have to protect from both. But up to a point, if the labor numbers are weak enough, we have to protect against that as the priority. And that's pretty much the standard it's always been. Not in a recession. I mean, I don't know. We might be in a recession. We don't have the GDP data. The last GDP was like in the 3s, if I remember correctly. And you need 2 consecutive losing GDP quarters. But wait, what was quarter 3 GDP? I know we got, I think, the prelim numbers in September. Or no, we wouldn't get it. It's lagging. Hold on, let me see. We get GDP at November 26th, so. But I think it was high. So I don't think we're technically in a recession. You know, just because we have a month or two of weak labor doesn't necessarily mean a recession. Now, we might be heading towards one, but. Is this influenced by the fact that the government doesn't release the data, unemployment, and so on? Kind of. I mean, it's definitely important that we don't have the data. If we look at treasuries today, we can take a look at rate cut odds. Yields are down to 4.077%. If we take a look at treasury yields, this is down from where we were. And if you look at the trend, yesterday we fell heavy. Look at this drop, 4.08% now from 4.13%. So yeah, we did drop this morning in yields significantly. If we take a look at rate odds, at this point, it's still 51% likely that we're going to cut rates 25 basis points. So again, here's a 25 basis point cut, and here's where we currently are. And so at this point, we still have a 51% chance of a rate cut. It's going to depend on the data, though. We're going to get some data coming out soon. Yeah, well, that shows kind of the opposite. People are talking about a recession with prices, Nelson. Prices can be high, and we're not in a recession, you know. If anything, prices being high shows stimulus problems and you know, too much growth almost. Yeah, I mean, it's 6:30 in the morning where I'm at. I'm in Texas right now, so it's 6:30 in the morning. So yeah, it's still dark mostly outside. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna get PPI inflation data today. I don't think we're getting it. We might. I don't freaking know, but I don't think so. Retail sales, I'm pretty sure we're not getting that either. We'll be here, but again, over $1 trillion since since October 6th, wiped out of the crypto markets. Over $1 trillion, which is crazy. Looking at our poll, 42% think yes, it's time to buy. 25% say no, it's too scary. 33% says it's time to wait. I agree with what you said about recession, but would you risk even higher inflation coming? It's not like I'm saying put the rates up again, but just doing nothing in December might be the best move. Yeah, I mean, it depends on what the inflation looks like, to be honest. And again, even if we do get it, it's not going to be accurate. Last time it was 3% roughly, so it's not cause for alarm quite yet, but it's not necessarily low either, you know. I would say the biggest risks right now are on the labor side. You know, and I think in terms of like real estate's been kind of struggling the last few years. And so I think in terms of stimulation there makes sense. But, you know, and we're also ending quantitative tightening on the 1st, which is a dovish thing. But yeah, it's just going to take time. We'll have to wait and see. It depends on a lot of stuff. I'm kind of in the middle right now. I don't know what the right move is, whether it's a 25 basis point cut or a pause. I think either one of those things is probably justifiable. You could probably argue fairly either one of those options, and so I'm kind of somewhere in the middle. I'm going to wait to see what the data looks like, especially the September data, because that data is lagging now. We might not get the October data, but we're going to get the September data on almost everything. And we've already gotten the CPI, it was 3%, but I want to see what like September PCE looks like. I want to see what September jobs report looks like. I want to see what September retail sales look like. Like, I want to see what the September data looks like that we missed. Look at Bitcoin, guys. Look at Bitcoin right below me right here. Bitcoin down to 95, almost even. 95 even is right here. I don't think 50 basis points is ever going to happen. The only way 50 basis points would happen in regards to like December is if we get really weak labor data for September, and then the October report shows weakness as well, and then maybe like the inflation reports that we get, like PCE, are reasonable. That's the only way we'd ever even come close to doing 50, but I still don't think 50 is going to happen. I think there's too much unknown about data and everything right now for them to make a big decision like 50 basis point rate cut right now. Right now, that would be a big decision. I just don't think we're going to get that. I think it'll be 25 or a pause now. You think data next week, good or bad, will move the market up? I don't know. I think weak labor is going to increase odds of a cut. if we get the September labor report. I think a weak labor is going to increase the odds of a cut. At the same time, though, I really don't know what we're going to get. And again, time will tell. Just be careful, guys. The market's definitely volatile right now. If you look at the VIX, VIX is elevated. It's at 22s. If you take a look at like the long-term history of the VIX, it spikes like this in volatile markets. Like here's April. You know, with the craziness that happened in April, we are right here right now. We're at 22. So we're not the most elevated, but we're definitely up. We're close to the highest we've been in a month or so on the VIX. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, getting a little scary out there. I'm not interested in buying up stuff yet. I need some positive confirmation first before I get my toes on the long side. Yeah, Nvidia earnings on the 19th as well. And honestly, this can go good for microchips and AI, or it can go really, really bad for microchips and AI. What do I mean by that? Nvidia earnings are Wednesday next week. Nvidia is kind of like the last hurrah of earnings this season. Nvidia is also the biggest earnings report that we get quarterly. Nvidia earnings is like the Super Bowl of earnings because that's the biggest AI and tech stock right now. And so Nvidia earnings are going to be incredibly important on Wednesday because they might either prop up the microchip market after weakness this week, or if for whatever reason they find stuff in that report that they don't like, that could jumpstart a bigger correction. You know, so again, I'm not saying it will, I'm not saying it won't, I don't know. I would just be very, very careful for Nvidia earnings next week because it can go either really good or it can go really bad. So just be smart. Yeah. Somebody did a poll here. John, do you think if we get a 50 basis point cut in December, thank you for the donation. Do you think if we get a 50 BP cut in December, that would be bearish or bullish for the market? I think it depends on if it's a surprise. But I think overall the market might want that more because it'll be stimulative and people, you know, lower interest rates equal more spending. But it could obviously go the other way. It depends on whether they surprise. It depends on what the odds are at the time. If we surprise 50 basis point cut when the odds are like they are today, I don't know what that's going to do. That might scare people and the market might drop. You know, or it might make people optimistic for stimulating, you know, the economy and all that good stuff, and then the market might go up. I'm really not sure there. I think it's really hard to tell that. I think if it's a surprise 50 basis point cut, though, it might freak people out. Now, if it's baked in and like 50 is like the majority percentage leading into that report, that's a situation where you'll just have to, you know, I think we probably will move up a little bit from that type of thing. But it also depends on where tech is at right now. You know, it depends on where tech is. Like the reason lowering interest rates stimulates the economy because businesses can expand and take out cheaper loans and hire more people, and people spend more when interest rates are lower and they have cheaper access to money and leverage. And so in theory, lower interest rates should make people more optimistic about spending, which could prop up markets and stuff like that. In theory, but that's not always how it goes. If it's too big of a cut that especially surprises people, it can induce panic, and so it could go either way. But I think it depends on if it's expected or not. They're not going to raise 50, you know. They're just not going to do that. Not with the state of the labor market right now. Nasdaq's still tumbling down. Look at the Nasdaq fall here, guys. When was the last big market crash? I don't know if it was 2008, maybe 2020. It might be due. Might be due. Y'all just be careful. April? April was, I mean, you might consider April a crash. But I don't know if the history books will. The reason I don't think they will necessarily is because it didn't last long enough. It wasn't like a true bear market where we downtrended for years like 2000 or 2008 or 1987. It wasn't like a bear trending downward market. It was more so just a big drop, and then we basically were right back up there within like 6 weeks. We were right back up to highs, breaking highs. And so, yeah, Tesla down to 380s. Big drops percentage-wise for Tesla. Yeah, again, y'all be careful. Markets are bloody right now. Again, I'm not buying this either. I'm just going to wait. I don't know if I'm necessarily going to short it. But John, you're awesome. Lots of wisdom and knowledge. Hey, I try. Top 3 greatest wisdom givers out there right now. All right, but yeah, let's watch 24/7s. Let's see if this holds. Bitcoin bouncing back up a little bit, back over 95K. Got down to 94s for a little while as well. Nvidia at 180s. Again, the level I'm looking at on Nvidia, this is the low of the last week plus for Nvidia. Really, it's kind of close to the low of the last like month for Nvidia, 178s. Again, the VIX is up to 2250s. Bitcoin just chopped right back down here. You can kind of see it's now back at 94.7s. 94s. Bitcoin is tumbling. So this is the first time Bitcoin's been under 95,000 since May 6th. Here, 94.67, the Nasdaq still dropping. Going to 80. I'm a permabull with a touch of temporary bear. People call me a permabull, but I'm really not. Like, I just don't think the problem is that everybody thinks we're going to crash like every year. And me covering a media channel for finance, I see it more than a lot of people see it because I have to talk to people every day, and people think we're going to crash every freaking year, and they have for the last like 8 years, 9 years. Eventually you're going to get one, and eventually we do crash and correct, right? People who tend to do the worst are usually people who get emotional and sell at the bottom, obviously. People who do the best sometimes are the ones that kind of dollar cost into the crashes, but you might have to sit on it for 5+ years or longer really to make your money back. But if you got time, I'm not going to tell you to do that, but in hindsight, that's usually what the people who do the best in those situations do. And I will say there's some overvaluation fears. PE ratios are high right now and a lot of AI stocks. The question is, can AI grow into those PE ratios and those valuations? And they could, for sure. But again, I always reference .com crash 2000 because I think it mirrors this in some ways. How does it mirror it? Well, the internet was that next big technology, and I think AI is that next big technology. You know, I think AI is the future of technology. I think it's very self-evident that's the case. But even with that said, like what happened in 2000 is that we had a lot of internet companies, even though the internet was the next big thing and it was in hindsight the future, you know. Even though it was, you had a lot of companies that were IPOing at crazy valuations. I always like to bring up Netscape. Netscape was a browser in a box company. You could go to the store and buy a browser in a box and install it on your computer, and it would show you all these different places you could go. And it kind of changed the standard of IPOs and valuations back in the 90s. Pre-Netscape, you really weren't supposed to IPO before a set amount of profits. And Netscape IPO'd pre-profits and made billions from it. Billions and billions of dollars from it. I think Microsoft wanted to do some type of deal with them, and Netscape was like, no, I'm not doing a deal with you, Microsoft. And so Microsoft started giving people for free Internet Explorer browser with their operating systems, and within a few years Netscape was done. But they changed the landscape of IPOing. So you saw a lot of internet companies IPOing in the 90s. And anything with .com on it, they would just run up these crazy valuations, these super, super high valuations, super speculation from investors and retail. And you know, those companies went up until 2000, and then that bubble burst, and then a lot of them couldn't keep up with those crazy high valuations, and you just saw these massive sell-offs start at the end of the 90s. And I think a lot of people would say that the dot-com crash mirrors what's going on today. The question is, can we grow into these valuations for AI? And again, that's going back to Nvidia earnings next week. That's why Nvidia earnings is such a massive, important thing, is because it's going to tell us what the state of one of the biggest AI, microchip companies in the world looks like right now. And honestly, I think markets have been a little strict this earnings season, especially on tech. We saw some rotation into the Dow over the last few days, even though the Dow's down a little bit. It's down less than the NASDAQ and S&P is right now. So I don't see how it's self-evident. Yeah, well, I think you got to understand, in my opinion, the reason it's obvious is because, okay, if you look at how much better AI has gotten in 3-4 years, and then you extrapolate that, I've said this before, you extrapolate that over 20 years, AI is going to be so much better in 20 years. People look at it one-dimensionally, like they look at what AI is today, and they say, oh, well, that could never be big. It's like, yeah, but you got to think about how much it's grown in 3 or 4 years, and it's so much better now. So much better, and it gets better every time. They update it regularly, and so long-term, I think it's obviously the future. I think people are going to use it to query things. They're going to use it to create things. They're going to use it for images. Video generation has gotten so good to where it's almost indistinguishable. You can still tell, but it's almost indistinguishable. And again, if you look at that pattern and then that pattern continues, which is what extrapolating means, if you look at that 20 years, 15 years, I would say, even 10 years from now, it's going to be crazy, crazy good. And that's going to, be already, it already is adopted into almost everything, but I think that's just going to enwrap it in everything we use for technology. I use it daily too, and for the most part, it's good. It's good at creating things. It's not the best at querying information right now, but it depends on which source you're looking at. And so it's good at it's good at creating things. Like I could say, hey, make me a paragraph with this, this, and this in it, and it will do it very fast. If I say, hey, what's the news on this, this, and this in this time frame, that's where it's not that good. But those pieces will connect over time, And so it might be something, though, where we do get a correction and only the biggest companies remain, which is what happened in 2000. Nobody thought Amazon would succeed in early 2000s. Nobody thought people would actually buy stuff from Amazon in any significant way in 2000s. And now it's one of the largest companies in the world, worth, hundreds of billions of dollars. And so, yeah, I mean, you got to just look at the future. But again, we might still get a correction leading into it. Here's a rebound in the NASDAQ and Bitcoin. Bitcoin back up to 95,000. Yeah, pattern recognition is very good. AI is very good in programming. Yeah, like look, I'm a React developer, JavaScript React developer, mobile, React Native mostly, but a lot of stuff. I haven't, been keeping up with it the last few years. But AI, I'll tell you, has gotten incredibly good at programming. Incredibly good at programming. When I taught myself to program, it was so difficult. I had to search errors for hours a lot of the time to figure out what I was doing wrong. At this point, anybody learning programming has a huge edge over when I learned, because they could just take a picture of whatever spaghetti code they have. They could take a picture of it, send it to AI, and AI will say, oh, this is what you're doing wrong, this. Like, you have basically your own programming assistant right now. So ironically, you can learn programming much faster with AI right now. You don't need programming as much, though, because AI programs for you now. So bittersweet, I guess, there. Is that really learning? Well, I would, again, you have to think about it in this context. You have to think about it saying, okay, if you get something wrong in your code, what's better? For you to search the internet for 5 hours looking for what you're doing wrong and then get frustrated and give up, or to be able to take a picture of it and say, AI, show me what I'm doing wrong, and AI breaks down exactly what you're doing wrong instantly. And you can read it, understand what you're doing wrong, and then move on learning. I think the latter is going to be a much better situation for most people. And I think that's, again, one thing AI is incredibly good at is programming and error identification and stuff like that. So, right, exactly, Beach Bum. Markets are bleeding without a real catalyst. I think, honestly, like I said, I think this pullback is kind of necessary. I've said for the last few weeks, a 10% correction is healthy. And just to put this into perspective, a 10% correction is not small. That's what the NASDAQ and S&P average yearly over the last like century is 10%. And so I think a 10% correction is healthy. Honestly, I think we kind of need it. I think markets are up, valuations are high. The higher we go without correcting, the bigger chance that we're going to have a massive crash or correction. Big bubble bursting. And so I think a 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, even 10% corrections healthy right now. You guys agree with me there? Yeah, Stack Overflow. Yeah, I mean, the internet has the answer somewhere. You know, we have at this point. The problem is like new languages are going to have less of that for sure. Yeah, I'm trying to see how much the NASDAQ and the S&P have corrected down. All right, so the NASDAQ and S&P, if we look at a 4-hour chart here, I'm just going to use the last few days is how much we're down. We're down from 685 down to 665. So again, 685 down to 665. That is a 3% correction on the S&P. The NASDAQ here, I'm just going to use the Q. Over the last few days specifically, and again, we could go longer than this. We're at 626. And now we're all the way down to under 600. We're at 599 right now. So the NASDAQ is down about 4.3%. If we take all-time highs into equation, like over the last, if we look up here, it's down more from these all-time highs. 637s back in what? Late October. So the last 2 weeks, just to put this into perspective. Again, the last 2 weeks since late October, the NASDAQ is down. What is it at right now? From 637. Is that at 599s right now? Yeah, so on a percentage basis, it's down 6%. Yeah, from all-time highs. So, not small. Definitely not small. I tend to think 1 to 2 red days, no big deal, but if we enter 3 days of red and more, then it's correction territory. Do we rebound today, guys? Let me know in chat. Put yes if you think we bounce back today. No if you think the red continues. We did a poll. 41% say yes, it's time to buy right now. 34% think it's time to wait. 26%. I appreciate the honesty, say no, it's too scary right now. Because gold follows the market right now. Gold has been following, has a positive correlation with the NASDAQ and the S&P, and it has for a while. And so gold correcting is just following the macro markets right now. No, no. No. Rebound. V-shape. No, no. Yeah, Nvidia could be the savior next week, or it could be it could throw a wrench in everything. So, Pop rally up, V-shaped DCA. You can see how split everybody is. I don't know, man. I think it's scary. Y'all be careful. It's November, no. Gold getting rejected. Looks like it wants to go sub 3.8 thousand. Definitely scary right now. In Bitcoin, let's see if it holds over 95. I'm in Bitcoin. I want it to go up. But I'll probably just sit on it, to be honest. Yeah, Bitcoin under 95. Broke under 95 for the first time since May. All right, so the U.S. Labor Department says they are unsure if they will be able to release CPI data. U.S. Secretary of Labor says September job report was collected but not processed, hoping September jobs data can be released next week. Unsure if BLS will be able to release October CPI. So again, will we ever get October CPI data? Again, he said, I'm hoping the September job data can be released next week. The September job report was collected but not processed. Y'all think that's better or worse? That the jobs data, or that this October CPI data doesn't get released? Yeah, I mean, in the way they collect CPI is actually kind of complicated. Like, the way they do it is they have like certain people who are representative, and they track everything they buy, and then I think they check the prices on the things they buy as well. And then basically they, with those government agencies, they have people that go out from the BLS and like check all the prices of the stuff that they wrote down. And essentially what they're saying is that they didn't have those people to go out and check. I think the people still did the surveys, like the representative people still wrote down what they bought and stuff, but I don't think they had the people they needed to go check the prices of them. So they don't have a lot of the data. Yeah, they don't have a lot of the data, and so we're just kind of sitting on this month of October where the government was shut down the entire month plus. From October 1st all the way till a couple days ago, the government was shut down. Was it yesterday? Yeah, the government came back up yesterday, right? So from October 1st to yesterday, the government was shut down. They didn't have all these people going out doing stuff. Now, September data was already done because the government didn't shut down until October 1st, right? So the September labor data we're going to get, we already got the September CPI data. We should also get like September PCE data, which is what the Fed uses to look at inflation a lot of the time. Is the personal consumption expenditure, specifically core PCE. And so we should get that data too. And we'll have to wait and see. Again, I checked the BLS website. And they put this up yesterday. They said revised news releases. Release dates following the lapse. They're going to announce new release dates on this page as they become available. We appreciate your patience. You know, so again, we're going to start getting some data releases next week for this stuff. But again, we're supposed to get PPI inflation data today. Again, I don't think we're getting it, but maybe we do. I don't know. I genuinely don't think so. And again, we've heard back and forth like information about October CPI data. Was it Hassett that was speaking yesterday? I think it was Hassett that was speaking yesterday from the White House. And I think he said that we are going to get the data or something. What did he say? I think he said we are going to get the labor data for October. It probably is going to be delayed, but I think we are going to get the labor data for October. I just don't know if we're going to, let me see exactly what he said. Yeah, so Hassett says that the October jobs report is going to be released, but with no unemployment rate, right? So generally speaking, when you get the labor report every month, it has non-farm payrolls, you know, government payrolls, private payrolls, all that stuff. And then it has the unemployment rate. We're not going to get the unemployment rate on this one, the next one that we get. So at this point in time, just to put this into perspective, we have the September jobs report that we haven't gotten yet. We've got the October jobs report we haven't gotten yet. We've got October CPI that we haven't gotten yet. We've got September PCE inflation, GDP data, jobless claims data, retail sales data, and all this other JOLTS job report we didn't get for September. So we've got all this data that we're supposed to get, and I think it's going to start coming out next week. And for somebody that covers the economic reports, I'm excited. Throw that stuff out there. As long as they schedule it and they don't just kind of blind release it one morning at 3 a.m., I'll be okay with it. Tell me when you're going to release it so I can cover it. For selfish reasons. That's what I want, you know. Yeah, jobs are weak. Jobs were weak before the government shutdown, you know. And so now that we had the furloughs, now the question is what happens. Here's a 750 level, and the Nasdaq just tapped it. Again, gold is still breaking down. Bitcoin is consolidating over over 95,000. Gold is testing lows of the day again, though, down here. Here's 41. I'm looking at 41 for gold, just psychological level. Bro, I don't want a level. Why is a level popping up? There we go. Yeah, Bitcoin's definitely scary right now, but again, when you look at everything, I see somebody said the Labor government's decision not to raise income taxes could prove to be the far biggest disaster. Walmart Douglas McMillan is going to retire as CEO January 31st of next year. John Furner appointed CEO effective February 1st. Again, so we'll get September jobs data at the very least next week. Next week's a crazy week, to be honest here. So if you want to know whether these swings could continue, again, next week we got the Fed minutes report. We've got Nvidia earnings, and then we're also going to have some of these revised reports that we didn't get last month. Again, Fed minutes, Philly Fed index, housing starts building permits, Nvidia earnings, and more. So we should have a lot of this stuff coming out. Fed cuts 50 points in December. I wonder where would the inflation go? It's either bad job market or bad inflation. Yeah, I mean, for me, it depends on whether they start actually printing money. You know, if they start doing quantitative easing, I know they're ending QT, what is it, the 1st of December in 2.5 weeks. If they start printing money like that, that's going to cause inflation problems right now. And maybe it's justifiable if the labor market is weak enough. You're supposed to be proactive with it, but, you know, I'm going to start sticking my money up in more stuff if they do. Yeah, Tesla was dropping quick on the day. Look at, here's gold. Gold's testing lows of the day again. Here's Tesla. Tesla all the way down. Tesla's taking a freaking turn. What is this, like a 20% drop in Tesla from almost 500 down to 400s basically? It's been roughly a little bit more than, yeah, it looks like almost exactly 20%, right? Tesla's down from 474 all the way down to 385. Yeah, that's 19%. That's a big drop. That's a big drop. See. PPI almost certainly isn't happening. Again, I have an incentive to pretend like it does. Listen, if I wanted to pretend like it does, I'd get thousands of people here at 8:30. But PPI is not happening. They're not going to blind release PPI the day after the government shut down without giving anybody any warning about it. They're just not going to, you know. If they did, I would be kind of mad about it, to be honest. But they're not going to do it. They didn't release CPI yesterday. They're not going to release PPI today. So. unfortunately. We're also not going to get retail sales today or anything else like that because the government has only been back up and running for a day. We're going to start seeing some of this stuff next week. We're going to get PPI data probably. We're going to get for September. Oh, yeah. So September, we should at least get the wholesale inflation report, PPI inflation. PCE inflation for September. JOLTS job report for September. GDP data. You know, I can't remember where we were in GDP. I think we were on quarter 3 for GDP. Like quarter 3 GDP estimates that we were supposed to get in October. So we got a whole bunch of stuff coming out. I just don't know when it's going to come out. Again, we had European GDP show up this morning at 1.4% versus 1.3% expected. Yeah, I don't see anything else coming out today. So I don't think we got the Atlanta Fed GDP now, quarter 4 coming out at 12, but it's wildly inaccurate usually and just wrong. So I don't know, chat. Will we get PPI inflation data today? I don't think so. I'll even title my stream "No PPI Inflation 8:30." Walmart CEO is resigning at the end of January next year. They might have had earnings as well, though. Let me see. That looks more like an earnings drop than it does a CEO laying down, but maybe not. Yeah, Walmart earnings are on the 20th, but their CEO's stepping down, which is probably what is causing this drop. Yeah, so if I correlate the news with Walmart with when the news came out about the CEO stepping down, it correlates, right? The news came out about 7 a.m. market time. And if you look at when this started to drop, here's 7 a.m. right here. It's literally right then. So this is just the Walmart CEO stepping down at the end of January next year. Rate cuts perform the same function. Kind of. But quantitative easing can cause quicker inflation problems. It's usually a more desperate thing, right? Like they'll do QE if we're in like a bad economic state. And so I think if they announce quantitative easing, it's going to reflect that. It's going to be because they think we're in a bad economic state. Yeah. Sorry, retiring. Yeah, you're right. I should clarify. Market didn't like it, though. Not young, though. He's not even 60. Or he's young. He's not even 60. My daughter thinks I'm old in my mid-30s. So, I mean... old is relative. Nvidia down 3% is not a good sign. Yeah, again, Nvidia, guys. The level I'm looking at, which we've honestly kind of bounced close to it, is this level right here. This low right here, 178.91. I'm just going to call it 179. This level is the low of the last while. Let me see what this is, the low of. If we break underneath that, it's a bad sign. Yeah, so this level right here is the low, really, of the last 3 weeks. Yeah, low of the last 3 weeks, roughly. 3.5 weeks. It depends on where this low was. But yeah, the low of the last 3 weeks, 3.5 weeks, is right around 179 for Nvidia. We'll see if it bounces. Again, Tesla weak as well. I don't know. I like working, to be honest. Okay, so we did get an update, guys, from the Commerce Department. The Commerce Department says quarter 3 GDP second reading is going to be released November 26th at 8:30. November 26th. That is a little bit under 2 weeks away on Wednesday. Not next week, but the week after. November 26th. Is when that's going to come out. Again, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time, November 26th, according to the U.S. Commerce Department. Quarter 3 GDP, November 26th, 8:30. All right, so that's a report. I hope they don't all put them out at the same day. You know, separate them. But again, quarter 3 GDP second estimate is going to be released November 26th, 8:30, Wednesday. All right, let's see if we keep this bounce up here. We have had a little rebound here. Again, I'm not going to long it, though. The risk reward might be there for a long. Gold still breaking down, though, if we look at gold. But, Novo Nordisk's outgoing chair, Lund, says our decision to step down is about our differing views of how active ownership is exercised. Not about the legitimate right to exercise its active ownership. Yeah. Novo's been volatile lately. NVO. Novo's down from 150 basically in July, down to $50. It's lost 65% of their valuation. Gold just broke under 4100s here, guys. Gold broke under 4100s. Bitcoin right at 95,000 right here. It's literally right there at 95K for Bitcoin. Not the day before Thanksgiving. Is it Thanksgiving on like the 29th this year? Or no, Thanksgiving always on a Thursday. Right? Is that right? Yes. Okay, you're right. It is the day before Thanksgiving. You are correct. Again, we do not get PPI inflation data today. Not unless they come out. Okay, so the Commerce Department now says that the day before Thanksgiving, October personal income spending and PCE inflation is going to be released at 10 a.m. Same day, October 26th, or November 26th, the day before Thanksgiving at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for PCE inflation for October. So they must have been able to get this data. And so again, at this point, 8:30 quarter 3 GDP, 10 a.m. same day, November 26th. We got PCE inflation. All the other stuff, it matters. Personal spending and all that stuff, it matters. PCE will be the big thing at 10 a.m. on that date. So we'll be here to cover it. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. We appreciate it. Hopefully, like if we get the labor report and all that stuff, hopefully we should get PPI inflation too. That's another thing we're missing. All right, guys, we got time left. Again, we're supposed to get retail sales and PPI. I don't think we're getting it. All right, so Commerce Department says International Trade Report for October will be released December 4th at 8:30. Commerce Department dropping stuff. Also, House Speaker Johnson says we'll aim to get all funding bills by January. Oh, really? I'm not even criticizing him. I think I like to make fun of very obvious statements. Like, oh, really? You're going to try to get the funding done before the government shut down again? Got it. Of course you are. You know. What are you going to say? Hey, I'm not going to try to get a deal done before it expires? Oh, no. You don't even need to say that. That's self-evident. That's obvious. Gold is following macro markets and the markets are down. Why is gold down? Gold's following macro markets. It's been following it for a while. You know when you hear your kids, I can't tell if they're laughing or crying. You know? I'm going to assume they're laughing. All right, Nasdaq still trying to get over 750. Are you guys red or green today? I haven't traded, to be honest. I'm red on my stocks. I'll put it that way. I think everybody's probably red on their stocks today. But my positions are small. I'm not going to risk too big of money. Yeah, Bitcoin bouncing a little bit at 95K. It touched the 94,000 level again, though, to be honest. Green? Yeah. No turkey for this Thanksgiving. We're eating bologna instead. Is that what you're saying? I'm not a big bologna person. I don't like... Yeah, no bologna here. But... UVIX. Okay, and that's an inverse volatility ETF, right? Or not inverse, but it's a... Market goes down, it goes up. Right? Yeah. Red on Supermicro semiconductors. I haven't even seen Supermicro in a while. It's volatile, though. We are seeing some AI corrections. Dude, Meta's down a lot. And not for my entry. Like, it's down some for sure. But it's not enough to, you know, cause me worry yet. Again, I entered very small. And I entered, was it yesterday I got in Meta? But it's small. Even if this thing goes down, I'll cut it under like 575, probably. Turducken? We used to eat turduckens. I'm from Louisiana, so we would have like a Cajun turducken with like Cajun stuffing. They were good. They were complicated though, you know. You don't know what kind of meat you're really eating. It's all good though. It's all good. Why do people call people a permabull? Usually because they're overly short and things. And I get it, right? I'm not a permabull. I'm just most of the time bullish, as you should be investing. Most of the time you should bet on the upside because, you know why? It's because the biggest statistical edge is on the upside. S&P, including crash statistics, averages 10% plus a year usually, especially the last 5. And so, I mean... the longer you hold that stuff, the less likely you are to make money on the short side. But every period of time we do get corrections, and sometimes corrections are healthy. And so, you know, I wouldn't say I'm always bullish. I would just say most of the time I'm bullish because most of the time bullish direction is the move. Your appetite for loss is way bigger than mine. In what context? Michael Burry might have been right this time. He really might have. The question is he still in his stuff? Is he still in Palantir and Nvidia? Because if he bought it in September, he's probably about break even now. Gold just cracked lows again, guys. Look at gold. 4,082s. Bitcoin now technically under 95,000. Again, market's looking pretty scary this morning on Friday as well. For a Friday as well. A lot of the time, Fridays are flat. He exited both his short positions. If he did and not get back in it, you know he's mad. He missed it by like, what, a week? Or like 2 weeks? Again, I think he probably just took his company private so he didn't have to deal with finance bros like me overanalyzing his positions, which is probably what I would do if I was him too. Like I said, Michael Burry will slap me with his wallet. I'm guessing he got back in short. You know, he's a true believer, so if he did, good for him. Will we get a Santa rally? I talked about this before. Again, I think Nvidia earnings is now the focal point. I think you got to look at Nvidia earnings now. Bitcoin driving under 95s. Nvidia earnings is now the focal point. Why is Nvidia earnings now the focal point? Is because it is like the Super Bowl of earnings. AI corrections, AI overvaluation fears, markets dropping. We're leading into Nvidia earnings. Somebody crying? I couldn't tell if y'all were laughing or crying.
Oh.
Spit it out. Your speech? Your British speech? British accent? Yeah.
But
You have a speech today? Oh. Okay. Fair enough. Alright. Love you. Okay. I expect to hear that. Hey dude. How you doing, man? Love you, bud. Good day, dude. Yeah, honestly. Honestly, everything looks scary today. Look at this drop. We're still dropping in the NASDAQ. We're getting closer. Lows of the day, 24,667.25 on the NASDAQ. Gold bouncing back. Bitcoin under 95,000. Meta down. Microsoft down. Google down. Apple down. Apple has been a little bit more resilient, though. Just less tech-centered. So, what's up, Tiny? Yeah. It's so bad the kids are crying. Yeah. They're just oblivious to all things markets. My son's a little bit more interested in it, but he's 11, so he just likes flashy screens and stuff like that, you know. Daughter could care less. I've tried to talk to her about it. She's just kind of like, eh. All right, guys, gold crack lows again, down to 4,067. NASDAQ getting close to lows of the day. Nvidia breaking down again. Watch the 179 level on Nvidia. Look at the NASDAQ drop here. Bitcoin getting close to the low of the day as well here. Why does it always give me the wrong time? Yeah. Bitcoin low of the day is at 94.5 thousand. Again, it's the first time Bitcoin's been under 95 since May of this year. Before 8:30, let me check the BLS side again. Again, I do not think we're getting PPI inflation data because it would be for October. Again, gold still breaking down at 4,067. Will gold hold over? Let me do another poll here. We got almost 1,300 votes. Hey, thank you, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, they're a good family. I got a good family. I appreciate it. I'm blessed in that regard. All right, so what was I going to ask on the poll? I forgot. Will gold hold over 4,000? Will gold hold over 4K an ounce today? Vote. Again, we did the poll. Is it the time to buy now? 41% say yes. 33% said it's time to wait. And 26% said no, it's too scary. We just tapped lows of the day in the NASDAQ. Gold broke down to 4,066. Nvidia, again, still testing 180. The low of the last 3 weeks is about 179 for Nvidia, so I'm looking at that level. Bitcoin, I'm watching that 95,000 level here. But man, morning, John. Do you think we are getting a tax harvesting early this year because of uncertainty? Maybe. I think there's certain. I think the uncertain. I was gonna say there's certainly uncertainty, but I think there's certainly fears right now in markets. There's fears. Michael Burry's bet doesn't help, and I think markets are just scared. And I think sometimes we get these corrections. Like I've covered the December holiday season in markets a lot. I honestly think that something that we're seeing, or something that we could see, is we could see drops leading into December, and then depending on what we do at the December Fed meeting is going to influence where markets go as well. But then maybe we'll start to see a Santa rally in December. Not saying that's going to happen, but I've seen that happen historically. I've been watching markets for years. I've seen it happen. And so again, I'm not saying that's going to happen. Again, just to put this into perspective, what tax harvesting is for everybody at home that doesn't know what it is. Tax harvesting is just when you sell things for a loss, locking in losses so that you'll owe less taxes at the end of the year, fiscal year. So we sometimes see sell-offs in December. Again, it's hard to tell. It depends on, again, over the next 3-4 weeks, we're going to see a lot of data that we missed come out for October and September. That's going to guide the Fed. So essentially, like if we get low inflation data and weak jobs, that's going to increase the odds of rate cuts. If we get high inflation and strong jobs, that's going to decrease the odds of rate cuts and increase the odds of a pause. Now, which one you think we should do is subjective. It depends on the person. But gold's still breaking down. Right now, we're at 4,062. All right, we got 3 minutes until the PPI data was supposed to come out. Again, I'm not going to tell you guys it's coming out. I'm 99% sure it's delayed. But I'll look at my sources just in case it comes out randomly. Again, I would never imagine they did this because they would be releasing it blind when nobody expects it, and markets might not like that. But we're supposed to have PPI, retail sales, core PPI, all that stuff. So I'll look at it, but I genuinely do not think we're getting this data. Okay. Again, silver, gold down, markets down. Again, Labor Department unsure if they're going to release October CPI. We did get some dates on the International Trade Report. Quarter 3 GDP coming out on the... Oh, wait. Quarter 3 GDP third estimate is going to be released December 19th at 8:30. Again, we got PCE inflation for October coming out November 26th at 10 a.m. And I'll watch the tape on this, but I don't think we're getting anything. In fact, most sources have removed it completely from the calendar. PPI, inflation, retail sales as well. Can you go online more often? There's a shortage of good, adequate YouTube guys nowadays. Bro, I'm live every day. Every day at like early as well. I go live at it's like 6:15 my time. It's 7:15 a.m. market time, Eastern time. 7:15 every day. We trade the opening bell. We do all kind of stuff. You're welcome. Subscribe. Do it now. Hit the notification bell. You'll get an alert. We appreciate it. That's right, Stoic. You know. They say PPI is going to be released. Is it AI? American Doctor. Again, I'm telling you, it's probably not, but I'll wait here. We got 1 minute. Let's see. Hit the live button next to the play button. Put it in 2x speed. Really, what we do is we cover economic reports here. We get thousands of people for the big ones. It's been kind of boring the last month, but the data's coming back next week. No, I don't think they're going to change the data schedule. Gold's still breaking down at 4,050 here. Again, PPI month over month expected at 0.3%. Retail sales expected at 0.4%. Core PPI expected at 0.3% as well. But again, I don't think we're going to get it in 20 seconds. I just don't. I'll watch it, though. We'll see. If they release it, I'll be kind of mad, to be honest. But that's okay. Yeah, we got 1,400 people here. That's cool. I appreciate you guys. Again, I don't think PPI is coming out. The algorithms might pick it up for a second. Here's the release right now. The algorithms might pick it up, but again, I don't see anything on the tape. PPI is not out. We had Canadian wholesale sales come out just now, but again, PPI, I don't think it's coming out today. Retail sales not coming out today. Again, they would be making bad decisions if they said, you know what? We're not going to release CPI. We're just going to randomly put out PPI. I just don't think they're going to do that. And again, this reaction shows no data came out, right? Like when data comes out, if it's big data like CPI, PPI, labor data, it goes like this, like up, down, big amounts. You see some whippy markets. Right now, this is nothing. So again, PPI inflation not out, as I said. some algorithms that haven't caught up to the no data releases might be influencing this, but nothing yet. Again, if you're tuning in for PPI, we do not have it today, guys. PPI inflation, as the title suggests, no PPI inflation today. We should get some of the backlog reports next month, this month. Labor report for September we should get. That's the one that needs to come out, right? Like, if you want to know the one that needs to come out, it's the labor report we were supposed to get in October. And so they've compiled the data, or at least they have the data for September PPI, for September NFP data, private payrolls, government payrolls, unemployment. They have that data, but when we're going to get it, I don't know. All right, NASDAQ bouncing back a little bit here. Again, I'm watching Nvidia. Gold's still close to 4,000. We did a poll asking people. The White House said no October CPI was going to come out, is what the White House said. No October CPI. Right, that's a very specific thing. October consumer price index inflation is not going to come out, most likely. Although we have heard differing things. We are going to get the labor report, they say. It probably just won't include unemployment data, right? So we are going to get October payrolls, basically, but it's not going to include unemployment, is what they essentially said. But again, to put this into perspective, in October, we're supposed to get the data from September. The government was shut down in October, so because of that, we're supposed to get labor data from September. We're supposed to get PCE inflation from September. We're supposed to get a whole bunch of different stuff from September specifically. The October data is the one in question. Like, October CPI, we're probably not getting that. It was supposed to drop this month. We're probably not getting it, but we'll see what happens there too. They'll release November payrolls, but they're going to release it in December, and it's probably going to be missing a chunk of it. I don't know how accurate it's going to be, but they'll probably release that one. The government was shut down all of October, and so the one we were supposed to get in November from October is probably never going to get released in terms of inflation, but labor data we're going to get, they think. Again, Wells Fargo raises Nvidia price target to 265 from 220. They lifted the price target from 220 to 265, kept an overweight rating. Analyst Aaron Rakers raised estimates for fiscal year of 27 and 28 on stronger hyperscale capex. He now models revenue of $209 billion for next year and $302 billion for 27, $382 billion for 2028 for Nvidia, with data center sales driving most of the growth, he says. How much of this do you think they're just using to prop up their own positions? You know? Like, if they're underwater in Nvidia, they raise the price target all of a sudden. You know? I don't think they're necessarily wrong. And I think Nvidia is going to be one of the more resilient companies for it, just because regardless of how good any specific AI systems are, if you're creating the microchips, you know, you're going to have some protection from corrections and those things. Yeah, the banks for sure, a little bit of a different. Your whole net worth bet on options. Make sure you have margins and solid assets. 2008 all over again. I think this one more similar, not to 2008 necessarily. I mean, I think the Burry dynamic, Michael Burry betting against markets, is like 2008, but I think this is more looking like .com crash type thing. All right, guys, gold just cracked lows again. It's down to 4,048 here. 4,048. Bitcoin testing the lows of the day also. NASDAQ down to 24,683s. Markets fell for a while during the dot-com crash. It was kind of unlucky. So like the markets corrected in 2000. I think by like 2003 they hit their bottom, and they started bouncing back up towards all-time highs, right? And then 2006, 2007 mortgage disaster happened. And so right around when they were back at all-time highs, boom, we had another correction back down from 2008. And so because of that, things didn't really look back up for like another 5 years after that. And so it took some time to get back up to highs because we had two major economic and market events within a 10-year period of each other. So all right, Bitcoin trending down again, 94,670 is the low of the day, and Bitcoin's 94.5 here. Again, gold's still looking kind of weak, but it is bouncing at 4,050 here. I don't know why I drew a level here, but we're bouncing a little bit. I'm looking at 4,000. I did a poll. 54% think gold does hold over $4,000 an ounce today. Yeah, well, I talked about this yesterday regarding Burry and his short bets. One of the things he probably hopefully learned from 2007 and 2008 is that markets have an incentive to prop things up. You know, he saw this in 2008 with the rating agencies. They had an incentive to keep the ratings high. Markets, especially now in the age of AI, have an incentive to prop that, you know, those big, strong sectors, which lots of different entities have put a lot of different money in that sector, AI specifically right now. And so there's a huge incentive to prop that market up. And so even if Burry's correct, again, we could take some time before it actually happens, or this could be starting right now. I'm not sure. I do see the U.S. Bureau of Economic Activity. They said we're working to update the schedule of economic releases post shutdown. I'd like to hear, you know, give me my updates. As long as they're going to give us a schedule, that's what I'm supportive of it. As long as they don't drop everything on that Wednesday before Thanksgiving, spread it out a little bit. Put some out next week. You know, give me something to talk about. Yeah, ETH. Bitcoin bounced a little bit back up there at the lows. At this point, we're kind of trending sideways into the lows here. Here's ETH. ETH at 3,087 right now, 3,087. So again, gold is interesting. Silver has pulled back a lot. What is silver? It's SIL, right? Yeah, silver at $50 again, basically right now. Bitcoin at 95K. NASDAQ at 24s. So a lot of stuff has corrected pretty substantially over the last few days. The question is, does the red stop today? I don't know. The red stop today, I really don't know. Bro is calling a target of $50 on Palantir by first quarter 2026. $50? Ooh, man, if that happens, we're in trouble. If that happens, we're in trouble. The A reaction soon. Bear trap. End of the day green. This weekend is the day the clients get screwed big time off their savings. I wake up, it's still falling. Yeah, I know. I woke up this morning like I wonder where the markets are. And then I looked at everything and realized everything is just incredibly red. Again, this is like the third day in a row on the NASDAQ. Dow has been a little bit more resilient. Again, what we're seeing is people rotate out of technology and AI into like the Dow and other stuff. But the Dow today is red also. If you look at YM futures, the Dow is down also today. It's at 47s. But the Dow was a little bit more resilient versus like the rest of the markets because people kind of rotated out of tech. Although the Dow still looks to be in a trend here. But here we go. Here's the NASDAQ testing that low again. It's down to 24,670. No, PPI is not coming out today, guys. It's just not. Healthcare staples, oil rotation. Yeah, oil's down a lot as well, but it's back up today, though. But oil's under $60 a barrel right now. Again, at this point in time, we have like a flag on the downside here. I don't know. I don't really like either direction, and I don't like this short-term day trading action right here. Like, this is way too, you know, I don't like that at all. Unless I'm going to short the top with a really small range. I just don't know what there is to really do day trading at this point. Bro, why is gold falling today? What is the news? Gold's just following macro markets. It has been for a while. Markets have been breaking all-time highs. Gold has been breaking all-time highs this year. And so, it's just following markets. It's up a lot, too. Gold probably needs to correct as well, realistically. Yeah, I don't necessarily think Palantir's going to get down to 50 either. It could. I just don't think it will. I think that'll reflect worse problems in markets, which could happen. I just don't think it will. Bitcoin testing lows of the day again. NASDAQ just cracked lows of the day again. Gold down to 4,061s. AMD's down to 240, I think, right? Yeah, 239s right now. All right, NASDAQ just broke lows. Bitcoin actually broke lows as well, 94,502. And here's gold. Gold's pushing down to test these lows as well. A little bit of a delayed response for gold. But look at the NASDAQ fall. Again, 54% think gold's going to hold over $4,000 an ounce. $4,000 an ounce would be all the way down here. So we'll see. Yeah, Eli Lilly up big. Bitcoin dominance is falling as well. Yep. What's your favorite thing to buy right now, chat? Let me know. Also, you can list some stocks and I'll take a look at them, but what's your favorite thing to buy right now? Market getting ready for a big move up, shaking people out. It's possible. Definitely possible. We'll see, but it's possible. It's a scary market right now for sure. Yeah, I tried to turn my mic red, but for whatever reason, I don't know why it picks up as yellow on the screen. I'm trying to fix it. See if I can fix it. Filter. False. No. 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 Oh well. That'll be alright. Alright guys, Bitcoin back down to lows of the day. Gold testing lows. NASDAQ testing lows again. Let's watch this 650 level, see if it holds. But man, markets are running down this morning. Running down. Alright, we got some people mentioning some things. XRP. I'm in XRP as well. Treasuries. I'm in treasuries also. AMD and silver. Q. BlackRock. Robinhood. SPY puts. Cash. McDonald's. Where's Nike at? Isn't Nike down a bunch? No, not really. Nike's doing okay versus everything else. But it's down today, though. This market drop is over. Buy a strong support at 661. Again, look at Nvidia. This 179 level, the low of the last few weeks. Yeah, y'all stay safe. MU, SoFi. I'm in SoFi also. Yeah, I don't know why this thing won't show us red. I can mess with it here. Like, if you look at this. Alright, I think if I do it like this, it might show kind of red. Here, there we go. That's as good as I can get it here today, guys. That's close enough to red, right? Definitely a red day. NASDAQ bouncing back up a little bit here. Looking at breaking news. Trade Representative Greer on food tariff changes says we expect any savings will be passed along to consumers. He said we expect any savings to be passed along. Switzerland will bring down its trade surplus with the U.S. He said on a Switzerland deal, it also includes pharmaceuticals, gold melting, and railway equipment. He said they're going to send a lot of manufacturing to the United States. We'll post details on White House website. Friday, he said overall price trend hasn't been because of tariffs regarding the U.S. economy. On Switzerland, he said we've essentially reached a deal. We expect any savings will be passed along to consumers regarding food tariffs. And on CNBC, Greer said the president is going to follow through with taking off tariffs on some products not produced in the United States. He said there are some micro areas where we don't need tariffs, such as coffee and bananas, as well as maybe cocoa tariff relief might be mutually beneficial. Greer said it's time to take off some tariffs on products not made here. Again, we also had an update that said the Bureau of Economic Activity said we're working to update schedule on eco releases post shutdown. NASDAQ bouncing back a little bit. Nvidia bouncing back. Gold's still down, but a little small rebound candle here. If we take a look at the SPY rebounding back up to 665s. So Arkham data shows that Strategy, MSTR MicroStrategy, has reportedly reduced Bitcoin holdings by 47,000, bringing total holdings down to approximately 437K. Remains unclear whether reduction was due to transfers or sales. Also, MasterCard Economics Institute chief says that consumer spending started picking up mid-October, according to Bloomberg TV. Yeah, with coffee, I was weird. I didn't start drinking coffee until I was in like my mid-20s. Now I have to drink it, but I'm kind of awake in the morning anyway. I'm a morning person. So I get up, I get this big jolt of energy regardless of whether I drink coffee or not in the morning. Probably should have just never started drinking it. Bitcoin back up to almost 95,000. It's still at 94,780s. Yeah, my son and I get up early, like crack of dawn, even if we don't have to, and we start like doing stuff. You know, my wife and my daughter are kind of the same in that they're grumpy and hard to wake up in the mornings. All right, guys, we're starting to see a rebound. Bitcoin just popped up to 95,000. Look at this. Let me see if there's any breaking news, but we did see a big pop. Trade rep Greer says that the Swiss are going to buy more planes, Boeing planes, and that the Swiss agreed on a $200 billion investment. Look at this rebound and everything right now. Wow. Starting to see a pop. Is it time to buy here, guys? Is this the positive confirmation you need? Again, remember, I'm not an investment professional. I'm not liable if you lose money. Always make your own assessment. Trade smart. I don't guarantee anything. I don't even claim to be a good trader. I only have one sponsor. I'm biased, of course. Check out Top Step if you want to help support the channel. There's no PDT in futures. You can day trade the S&P, NASDAQ, Dow, Russell, Gold. Most day traders lose money. It makes sense to try cheap, risk a very small amount. If you fail, it's not the end of the world. I lost thousands trying to fund my own account in the beginning. If you pass it, 90% split anyway. Super reliable with payouts. Again, they're a sponsor of mine. I'm biased, but genuinely useful to learn in this context. It just makes sense. So I'll put the link up. Great way to help support the channel. Bitcoin back over 95,000, which is good. I don't see any breaking news here, though. He said, expect to eliminate the Swiss trade deficit. At least one company to smelt in the United States. Swiss are going to buy more Boeing planes. Swiss are to have a 15% tariff rate similar to the European Union. Watching people panic is funny. Honestly, my channel tends to do a little bit better when the market is red. I think more people tune in for a fire, if that makes sense. So we'll see if we bounce back. But man, next week should be really interesting. We got Nvidia earnings, Fed minutes, updated labor report probably, and more next week. So next week will be very interesting, I think, in terms of just what's going on. I'm not telling anybody to buy the dip. I have no idea what the market's going to do. Genuinely no idea. But I know we're down a lot. Government's back open. People didn't get the response the market wanted. But Bitcoin rising here. So Michael Saylor on CNBC says we put in a very strong base around here. He's talking about the Bitcoin decline. Again, he said we put on a very strong base right now. So he's speaking on CNBC, and that's what's driving Bitcoin higher is Michael Saylor. Which is the strategy CEO. Dip is served. There does not seem to be a lot of liquidity above or short squeeze at the moment. Yeah. You're more handsome with your hat. That hurts right here. It hurts right here. Then you're not going to see these luscious locks, you know. Can't cover it up with a hat. Come on now. I don't know where my hat is, to be honest. I got one right there, but all right. All right, guys. No October data incoming. We're going to get October data. We're just not going to get October CPI data. We're going to get October labor data. It's just not going to have unemployment. And we're probably going to get October other reports for October. But we're just not going to get October CPI specifically. That's what it is. From my understanding, that's what it is. I think we're going to get data. Bitcoin back up to 95.4 thousand on Saylor speaking on CNBC. Let me see if I can find this. Trying to say you got a big head. I do have a big head here. You know, there's a correlation between head size and intelligence. Top 3 smartest ever right now. Yeah, Michael Saylor speaking is pushing things up. Honestly, when my son was born, for the first like 3 or 4 years, he had the biggest head I've ever seen. And I was honestly kind of worried about it. I bought him like a hat at the Disney store, and it was for like a 12-year-old, and it sat on his head, like didn't even get close to being, you know, normal size. He eventually grew into it, but we were kind of concerned for years, you know. All right, guys, here we're starting to pull back. Again, Bitcoin pulling back to 95,000. Again, Michael Saylor is speaking right now on CNBC. He says they're buying quite a lot of Bitcoin. He said he expects Bitcoin to rally from where we're at now. Also, Greer said that the U.S. is going to announce food tariff exclusions today, and food exclusions are going to apply to countries with and without deals. Greer said, yeah, the Swiss are agreed to $200 billion investment into the U.S. All right, so here's 95,000 right here. Gold starting to dip down a little bit. Nvidia starting to pull back. Really, we're very sideways in markets this morning. We got about 30 minutes until the opening bell. Nike just spiked. Yeah. And really, I could probably put the camera down a little bit so you guys can actually see. Anyways, we did bounce at 24/7. Look at that level. I'm still watching gold and the SPY pretty closely here. Again, gold's right around 4,000. I think that would be an obvious support level for gold. Let me see if Taylor's still speaking. Strategy is going to disclose latest purchases on Monday, according to Michael Saylor. So again, MicroStrategy going to disclose their latest purchases of Bitcoin on Monday, according to Saylor. Again, on CNBC, he said, "We are buying Bitcoin. We are accelerating our purchases." He said, "Strategy is buying quite a lot of Bitcoin." And we'll see if this can prop up those markets. S&P trying to hold 6,700s. Yeah, it's so close to 7,000 too, though. I think I thought we might run up and tap 7K before we corrected for the S&P 500. Again, let me know in chat right now. Are you long or short as we speak right now? Are you long or short, guys? I'm in cash, I'm short, I'm long here. Long with options. Flat, long, short, short, long term, long, long. I told Burry to sell his position. He's made enough money and talked enough in their eyes. Everyone is long. Shake my head. We're cooked. Long term, long always. For now, market sideways. Looking for longs. Short term, long, medium term, short. Short on NASDAQ past 4 hours. Nothing yet but short minded. Stuck. That's not good. Always short. Buy high, sell low. Short. Looking for bottom signals. But V, long, short, U.S. Treasuries, and pessimistic. We're not cooked, we're cooking. Yeah, this is what I don't understand about the modern slang. So if we're cooking, it's good, but if we're cooked, it's bad. So I guess it depends on who's doing the cooking. Again, I'm in my 30s. I'm just not cool anymore. I've accepted it. Never again will I wear super baggy jeans. You know, just not doing it. Like really baggy jeans. Gold almost back at lows here, chat. Gold at 4,045. Fibby says I'm cool AF still. I mean, I get it. I'm secretly cool. But I don't show everybody the cool because that'll make everybody look bad, is what I'm saying. Gold just cracked lows. We're at 4,039. I'll tell you what, my kids definitely don't think I'm cool. But I think that's pretty standard. Bitcoin back under 95,000. Gold back at lows of the day at 4,040. I'm just glad we got past all that skibbity toilet riz. Now what is it? Now it's Aura, right? I've got a 16-year-old, so now it's Aura. I think I know that, you know. Gold at 4,042s. Bitcoin holding over 95,000. Now, people are wearing Jinko style jeans now. Again, as somebody that grew up in the 90s, you're going to make fun of yourself in 5 years. I promise you will. You know, you're going to look at pictures from this point in time and be like, what the heck was wrong with us? And I'm looking at y'all right now like that. I'm sorry, but I am, you know. Get off my lawn is what I'm saying. Again, Nvidia almost back up to 182s. Bro, I saw a twin turbo Supra the other day driving down the street. It had some like snooty license plate tag too. It was cool. I liked it. I like JDM stuff. People can't buy a home, so they can't get off, you know. That saying's gonna go away. Get off my lawn. Because nobody's gonna have a lawn, I guess. Yeah, rate cut odds. Let's take a look. All right, guys. 53%. They've actually gone up since a few hours ago when I covered this originally. 53% is what we're looking at for rate cuts in December. Again, it's going to depend on the data. Again, we're going to get a delayed labor report. We're going to get September labor data. We're going to get October labor data that's delayed. We're going to get October PCE inflation data, September PCE inflation data, September JOLTS job report, September GDP second estimate for Q3, and more. And all of this stuff might move these odds, right? But it's going to depend on what the data looks like. We're supposed to get that data released in the next week or two, I think. Some of it, not all of it. The October data will probably be longer. But again, we go up to the 750 level, which we had already drawn on our chart, 750. So again, we're very sideways. Here's the sideways range right now. Yields are down today, I think, as well. But that's the sideways range we're at right now. I don't trust this enough, though. I don't really know which way to go. I think we've been going sideways essentially all morning now. And, I mean, obviously we could go either way here. If Sailor's still speaking here. Yeah, I think Sailor's done speaking. He did comment about a rumor about Sailor strategy cuts Bitcoin holdings by 47,000. He said that's just a rumor. So Michael Sailor did not sell 47,000. holdings of Bitcoin. Said there is no truth to this rumor on X. So that's good for them, I guess. Bitcoin bouncing back up. It's at 95.6 thousand on that rumor. PPI in a half an hour. No, PPI was supposed to come out today, but it's got delayed. You know, the BLS hasn't updated any of that. They're not going to give us October PPI this early. You know why? Is because they probably don't have a lot of the data they need right now. They're going to have to go fill some of the holes in the data that they miss for PPI inflation specifically. And so I don't think we're going to get PPI inflation data for October, which is what was supposed to come out today, was October data. We might get September PPI inflation next week. But let me check the BLS site, see if they've updated it at all. I don't think they have, to be honest. The only thing they put up is that they're going to get the new revised release date schedule out as soon as they can. So that's the only thing we really got right now. Are y'all telling me I look like Encino Man? Y'all are telling me I look like Sean Astin, like Sam from Lord of the Rings? I don't know if I've ever heard that one before. I've heard Paul Felder. I've heard a bunch of different people. I've heard what's the Star Wars guy with red hair, dude? Cal Kestis? I've heard this one before. The problem is I don't have red hair. You know? This guy? I've heard that one before. I don't know about Sean Astin, though. Bryce Mitchell? I haven't heard that one either. Why is it always MMA fighters? Paul Felder, Bryce Mitchell. Somebody said Forrest Griffin one time. That one hurt my heart. You know. Anyways, Nasdaq starting to bounce back. Gold up to 4,050. R2D2, I think I can see it. As long as it's not C3PO, I'm okay with that, you know. All right, guys. Hey, we got 20 minutes until the opening bell. 20 minutes. Still rejecting at 750. Chopping sideways. What I'm scared about is the opening bell. The last 2 days, the market has dropped substantially at the opening bell. And really, the downward pressure we're getting now, I think, is just a continuation of what we saw yesterday, essentially all day, but it started at the opening bell. And so what I'm curious about today is, what does the opening bell look like? The last few days, we've gotten deep red action at the opening bell. Wash sale yesterday, I thought back. Same stock today. Do you know how long I have to hold without another wash sale? No, you gotta ask your broker that. I'm not sure. You know? The wash sale rule basically just means, isn't it for tax purposes? Like, you can't write off the same security. Like, if you lose $1,000 in the SPY and then make $1,000 in the SPY, or vice versa, if you make $1,000 and then lose $1,000 in the SPY, you can't write off the $1,000 loss like you're net down $1,000. You instead have to be break even and not manipulate it for tax purposes. No, again, not an accountant, not a CPA. Ask an accountant or CPA. That ain't, I'm not one of them, you know. Where do we go at the opening bell, guys? All right, so we got another poll. Will gold hold over 4,000? Over 50% think gold does hold over $4,000 today. I'm going to do another poll. Which way does the market head after the opening bell? Down, up, or down? Or sideways? Well, throw sideways in here as an option. Vote on the poll. Poll is now live. Right now, we've been sideways since essentially 7:30 this morning, Eastern. So we've been mostly sideways. Liquidate everything on 12-1. Fridays are for the Bears. All right, looking at our short-term results from the poll. 43% say up, 42% say down, 15% say sideways. Again, here's the range I'm looking at from like 650 up to 750. This $100 range right here is what I'm looking at for like a break over or under at the opening bell, assuming we don't move over or under that level in any significant way before then. All right, still, most people think we're going to go up at the opening bell. Again, I'm going to trade a little bit light. Been kind of a back and forth day. I ended up making money yesterday, I think, but definitely back and forth right now. Could be a shakeout, yeah. All right, so now the Bears are in control of the voting. 43% think we're going back down at the opening bell this morning. All right, Swiss government on trade said there will be more details at 10, but that thanks to the president for constructive engagement, tariffs will be reduced to the U.S. to 15%. Yeah, I don't see any other breaking news. Again, Palantir is down 11%. Tesla's down 10.5%. Intel down 9%. AMD down 8%. Oracle down 7%. Nvidia down 6%. Google down 5%. Amazon down 4.5%. IBM down 4%. And Microsoft down 2.5%. Just to see some of these corrections in tech. Anybody, I have an idea of like buying the Dow right now? I think it's less diversified into tech. Or less tech heavy, and maybe even if the market rebounds, we're still going to see some upward movement, but I don't know. The Tether CEO said it's Bitcoin Black Friday, essentially right now, basically saying it's cheap. Our PPI and CPI for October not going to be released. We might not see CPI. I think PPI might, but I'm not 100% sure. We don't really have much updates. We're going to get a schedule. My guess is Monday for a lot of this stuff. I put on Tesla's printing. Tesla's just dumping for the same reason. I mean, it's tech, AI focused. Those are seeing some corrections the last 3 days. Where's MicroStrategy at right now? Yeah, MicroStrategy's had a tough time as well. Down like 33% at least since the beginning of October. More than that, really. Since October 6th, it's down from 360s down to 200s. Big percentage for MicroStrategy. Back up over 200 today. Bitcoin is, again, trying to hold over 95,000. Stupid question. At what point do we stop calling it a correction and start calling it a crash? There's different numbers for that. I think it's like 95%. Or no, I don't know what the heck I just said. I think it's like 25%. 20 to 25% is like the level of percentage drops where most people are going to pivot from a correction to a crash. It's usually around 20-25%, which we're not there yet. You know, we're down like 6% or something like that right now, 7% in some markets. The opening bell is in 13 minutes. It's not in 45 minutes, Shane. It's in 13 minutes. 40% is like a... Yeah, I mean, that's a big crash. Yeah, but just noting several have gone down 25%. I'm not talking about stocks. I'm talking about indices. I'm talking about the S&P, NASDAQ, Dow, Russell, you know, the broad market indices is what I'm talking about in terms of a market crash, right? Some stocks might be crashing, but to be fair, stocks rip and crash every day. I'm talking about broad market indexes. And we're going to be trading the NASDAQ. I don't think it was 60%, Vasquez. If we look back at 2020, the Q is going to be the bigger drops because it's tech related, right? But if we pull back and we look at 2020, at the time, the Q dropped on a percentage basis down from, what was it, 640? I'm just going to call it 637, I guess. Down to, or no, 637 is the highest. It dropped from 540. Oh, no, this is April. That was a 25 or 30% drop. In 2020, let me zoom out a little bit more. Here's 2020. 2020 wasn't that significant, to be honest. The bigger crash happened when the Fed started getting restrictive, when inflation spiked. But the 2020 drop was from 238 all the way down to, what is that, 170? So yeah, that was a 28.5% drop on the NASDAQ in 2020. Again, the bigger bear market happened here. When essentially what happened here is that 2020 was so wild in terms of, like, you know, super low interest rates, quantitative easing, money printing, supply chain problems, lockdowns, and all of this stuff contributed to like a really high inflation spike by 2022. When 2022 started, the Fed started raising interest rates pretty freaking aggressively, right? This restricted the economy, pushed everything down, made everybody kind of nervous. And so the NASDAQ dropped from 400s down to like 260 in this period of time. It was more of just a bear market is what it was. But that was a 35% drop. So none of it was 60. 60% drop is pretty rare. All right, NASDAQ starting to fight its way back. It's up at 750s now. Two-year note, yeah. Yeah, all good, Timothy. Appreciate the support, bro. Yeah, and again, you got to understand the context of why the market dropped at that period of time. Like, the market dropped because of hawkish Fed. They raised rates restrictive, like, I think it was like 400 or 500 basis points, and then they held them there for a year. And inflation, CPI inflation at the time in 2022 was like 9+%. And so y'all think 3% is bad. At the time, it was 9%. So people freaked out. And obviously, markets corrected and, you know, stuff happened. But yeah. Music stop. Yeah, Nvidia's back up a little bit. Gold's back up. Bitcoin's holding over 95,000. Here's Nvidia. At 182s. This is a good level. Again, what I'm worried about is if the market crash does, not a crash, but if the drop continues, I'm worried about this at the opening bell. You know, I'm not saying that's what we get, but I'm worried about it. I'm worried about it. We might go the other way and squeeze those shorts that are thinking that out. I'm not sure. I gotta wait. But we got 9 minutes until the open, chat. Yeah, so I'm seeing some people say that they think we're in a technical correction of an uptrend. And again, I think a correction is healthy. I just don't know. I don't know if that's what we're going to get. I really don't know. It depends on, obviously, how big the drops are, but there's a lot of fear right now in markets. Does the president speak today? I don't know, probably. He speaks all the time. It's hard to keep track of what he says. Yeah, I'm trying to see when we're gonna get okay, so they did the Bureau of Economic Analysis at least updated their charting now. So starting November 21st, we're gonna get some of this data on the 26th. Quarter 3 GDP. PCE is gonna come out on the 26th. For inflation data. So at the very least, we're going to get some of that. Again, Michael Saylor came out saying there's no truth to the rumors of them selling Bitcoin. Midday president tweet. I think we get both a pump and a dump. All right, guys. Hey, we got 6 minutes. Let me know what you guys think is going to happen today. Gold back up some, though. Look at gold. Back up to 4,061s here. See if they hold. 4,060 plus right now for gold. Yeah, then we're going to actually get Black Friday. Says on the crypto crash we are buying. I mean, I think that would, I'm not going to tell you guys what to do. I'm not an investment professional, but I think that would probably be the smart move. Again, fearful is greedy, greedy is greedy when others are fearful dynamic. There's a lot of quotes on this. Time to buy is when blood is running in the streets. There's a lot of good quotes, but I think a lot of people are waiting for this opening bell. The markets are sketchy. Bitcoin back up though. Look at it rise. Nvidia back up a little bit. Gold, Nasdaq, all trending higher. Very short term. Okay, the president just tweeted. But it's more so about partisan drama and Department of Justice releasing documents and stuff like that. So it's not really, it's a little bit too controversial for my taste here. So, but he did just tweet. For all those that said he would tweet today, he did just tweet. Sailor's working overtime for damage control. Yeah, he might be. Hey, see you, Tiny. Have a good day. All right, guys, we're down to 735s here. All right, guys, Tesla's back up a little bit as well. Tesla's down so much. Actually, no, never mind. This was just a weird candle for Tesla. I don't know why it even moved like that, but Again, if we look at yields today, which follow, just to put this into perspective, yields and interest rates follow each other. So if we have lower interest rate sentiment, yields go down. If we have higher interest rate sentiment, yields go up. If we look at the odds are up for a rate cut in December, back over 50%. Yesterday they were 40-something%. But overall, yields are definitely a little bit higher. They were under 4% for a while during the shutdown. So, and again, at this point, we're going to start getting some of this economic data that might change. Yeah, I saw a couple different stocks do a big weird rogue candle like this. Usually it's like a random order getting filled up there at the previous closing price, like where it closed yesterday. But usually it happens at like 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. Big stock news today. All right, here's the NASDAQ turn here. Nvidia is moving down. Look at this. NASDAQ coming back down here. Bitcoin dropping back down ahead of the opening bell. Are people getting scared of the open again? We've seen some drops every day at the opening bell, to be honest. All right, still dropping a little bit here, chat. You know what we need? We need a Powell speech. Let that man come out and speak. What data? Yeah, I mean, we didn't get any data come out now. All right, guys, here's the opening bell. Be ready. Less than a minute. You gotta look like Darth Vader, bro. I mean, I definitely look like Darth Vader for sure. I would say if there's anybody in the world I look the most alike, it's Darth Vader. You know. All right, guys. Nvidia up to 183s. Here we go. Here's the opening bell. Hit the live button next to the play button. Put it in 2x speed. You'll catch up to the stream. But let's see if the opening bell crashes again, like it has the last 2 days. All right, there's the bell right now. All right, there's the opening bell. Look at that gold right at the lows. Watching Bitcoin here. Watching Nvidia here. Again, we got Nvidia earnings as well. So far, we have a little bit of bull action at the open, but not a ton, but a little bit. Look at that gold right around 4,050. All right, guys, Nvidia down to 182s. Gold at 4,050s. No, Powell doesn't speak today. All right, guys, Nvidia 183s, 182s. NASDAQ's still down, though. We are going to trade. I'm just going to let some of this play out first. I don't trust the markets enough right now to really take any big positions here. Very muted open, to be honest. Nvidia's back down towards the bottom of this candle, though. Gold back down to the lows. Not the lows, I mean, but... Okay, maybe now it's back down to the low. NASDAQ falling here. Microsoft's actually green since the opening bell. So is Google. Apple's down. Meta's flat. Okay, here's a bigger drop. Testing the lows of the day, guys. Tesla. Look at gold. Test the lows of the day. Tesla turned all the way back down here. Just broke lows of the day for a split second down to 650 here. Honestly, we get a bounce, I might short. We are 3 minutes into the day here, chat. 3 minutes. Bitcoin testing 95 again. Gold broke lows of the day at 4,036.70 now. Nvidia breaking down too. Like I said, the last few days the market has dumped at the open. Today we're starting to drop. It doesn't mean we're going to keep going. Bitcoin back under 95,000. Gold's testing lows again. Nvidia's down to 180.50. You dye your hair? No. All I did was change the configuration and the image settings on OBS. NASDAQ still breaking lows. We're down to 4,035s. I wanted my mic to turn red. You know? Again, Bitcoin under 95,000. NASDAQ cracked lows real quick. Again, if we get a bounce, I might short into it, but I need a decent enough bounce at like 67s, and it needs to be small considering the range of the day. Didn't quite get 67s. Nvidia's trying to get back up there. We're 4.5 minutes into the day now, but is my hair red? I don't know, man. Again, Bitcoin went down to 95,000 and is back up. NASDAQ still looking a little weak here, though. Look at Bitcoin's bounce right here. That's a decent bounce for Bitcoin. Just for mid. Alright, there's the bounce. Do I want to short this? I wanted to short 667s. Should have shorted 67s, I guess. Problem is, like, if this ends up coming back up there, we might go higher. Gold's back up there too. Look at this rip at the open, guys. I will short this for a second. Maybe add up to 7s, but alright, there's 2 contracts. I'm gonna leave it at 2. Alright, I'm out. Completely. No way I'm dealing with that this morning. I'll wait now, to be honest. Probably should. The pump back in markets right now. Big squeeze and shorts getting squeezed out right now in the morning open. Look at this move. The NASDAQ, complete V-shaped recovery. Wow. Look at this move this morning, guys. Big V-shaped recovery in almost everything. I want to go long now, but I'm worried it's Friday and we're going to chop. right, we did get into a long. There you guys. Here. We're green already, and I could probably hold it in case we rip up more. There we go. We already took one off. We're up about 50 something, 75 ticks. There we go. I'm gonna cut the long right there. All right, I'm out. That's good. Yeah, shorts just getting squeezed out is what that was. Look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin back up to 96.2s. Nvidia back up to 184s. We're starting to see a decent rebound here. Market kind of needs it. Again, this is ahead of Nvidia earnings, so we might see some of that baked into the market right now. All right, we're back up to highs. See if we break it now. Back up. Huge rip. All right, so we're pretty green and everything, to be honest, today. We lost a little bit on one account. Look at this pop. I'm watching the 850, 835 up here though. See if this continues, but what a V-shaped recovery at the opening bell. We get a dip down to 750, I might buy it, but I don't know. Depends on if these shorts continue to get control of this. Yeah. So we did get a really nice trade in here. We locked in. Show you guys the rest of it. Have time. And this was the only other account that we're really red on. We're up a decent amount. I'll try to hold this close to break even though, see if we keep popping higher, but I'll cut the rest break even. Yeah, we'll get out right there. We're still up 200 in that one. So we're green in 3 out of 4 accounts today. This account I'm up a lot, and I'm going to lock in the profit on this one. I don't want to give it back. I will trade this account now. Looking for 750s maybe for a longer term trade if I get a dip down there. I'm gonna add a little bit more to my Home Depot position. It's small. Very small. I'm gonna add a little bit more there just because we got like room. Is it a long weekend this weekend? Is the market closed Monday, Pawn? Or am I just I'm not understanding. No, there's no holiday, right? Oh, okay, gotcha. All right, Nasdaq's still pumping higher here. We're green on almost everything. Let's see if we hold here. Thanksgiving's on the 27th. Yeah. 2 weeks from now. All right, look at that 835 level we have on our charts here. Again, I'll look for maybe 75 right here. Right here. In this account that we're on right now. There's 800s. I'd like 75 down there, though. Come on. All right, we'll add a little bit into this now. Like a little bit more, though. There we go. Let's see if we retrace back up there. Go. Just take a piece of that off. We're just green. Ready. We go back up there. There we go. I'm gonna cut it right there. Look at that bounce. It said 75. Where did we bounce? We bounced at 75. Love to see it. Love to see it. Quick trade, like 20 seconds. We just got the bounce so fast. You know? No, I think I'm gonna probably take a payout on this, one of these accounts that I'm in. Nvidia, guys, look at Nvidia. Back up to 185s. All right, guys. So again, we're 15 minutes after the bell. Still waiting. Running into a little roadblock here. Nvidia almost green on the day. If Nvidia gets over 186, 80s, it's technically green on the day here. They'll rip it up here, guys. Okay, so 25,000 is only right here. If we have like a big green day today, this 25,000 level seems interesting. Seems interesting. Again, check out Top Step if you want to help support the channel. I'll probably take a payout soon on that other account. No PDT in futures. You can day trade the S&P, NASDAQ, Dow, Russell, Gold. Get you around the PDT rule. Allows you to day trade for much less. 90% split once you're funded. $50 loss if you fail it. Again, you want to confirm it all with them. But the base one costs approximately 50 bucks. No PDT rule. If you pass it, I think you got to make 3K in profit without losing 2K, following their rules and conditions. And again, you want to confirm it all with them. But if you do that, they fund you 50K, 90% split. I think you get to keep your first 10K in profit as well. You can reset funded accounts, all that good stuff. Again, they're a sponsor of mine. I'm biased. This is only my second plug in about 3 hours today. So I try not to plug things too much. I don't even claim to be a good trader. But check them out if you want to help support the channel. Great way. Here's the link. I'm biased, of course. I get paid by them, so I'm biased. All right, NASDAQ still climbing higher here. Nvidia trying to go green on the day. Gold back up to 4,070s. Bitcoin back up to 96,500. Hey, nice, Kato. Yeah, y'all be careful. Don't give it back. figure out. Pretty good. And we're just ripping up here. Here's Nvidia at that previous closing price at 187 basically right now. It's trying to go green on the day. Nasdaq's just flying up right now. Kind of the opposite of the last 2 days in markets right now. Looking at any breaking news here. We haven't had much to release after the bell today. Yeah, look at the market rip here. Chat. Again, we're over 24 nines. Nvidia is technically green on the day, at least close to it. Still pushing here, guys. Not stopping yet. All right, we're over 20, or we're right at 25.9. Nvidia technically green on the day. Here's a red candle here. Just be careful. Yeah, just be careful. Tesla almost green on the day, is it really? Yeah, Tesla at 396. 402 is green on the day for Tesla. It's about 2/3 back up. The way you grow on social media is not by going to other people's stream and promoting your own stuff. It's just not. You're gonna get banned most of the time. Try to do that. It's just not how you grow. All right, guys. Hey, we're pulling back. We're at 24,880s. I mean, I think a dip is the only thing that makes sense, but it needs to be. It needs to be dippy enough, you know. Watching 850s maybe for a bounce right here. If we do, it's small. We got what, 860s? Oh, maybe it was 860s. Missed it. Went to a concert handing out mixtapes. Yeah, I get it. Like every time I look at somebody like that, they've got like 3 viewers or whatever, and like it's just not how you grow. Like I've never done that ever. I've never gone to somebody else's stream and been like, hey, you know, go check out John at Beginner Trading. Never. Not when I was small as a channel. No, Sailor was live earlier. I don't think he's still speaking. All right, we're still pushing up. I wanted 850s. We got 860s. I needed the Goldilocks spot right here. I just didn't quite get it. Buyers just bought this up. So. These are not fib levels. These are self-drawn support and resistance levels, to be honest. Fly, baby, fly. We're down so much. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure markets are ready for that. NASDAQ rip it up. Here's 950s. Again, here's 25,000. Nvidia well into the green at 188s. Again, here's 24,950s. 25,000 is right above us too. Rotation back into tech is what this is. These are tech stocks running. Never understood why you would want to make money from a YouTube channel. I'm kind of the opposite. All right, gold up to 4,078. Bitcoin back up to 96.8. Again, watch 25,000. 25,000 on the NASDAQ seems relevant. Yeah, income streams. Figure out what you like doing and then monetize the heck out of it. That's what you do. Right? I like finance, so I monetized it. Anyways, watch 25K. You get Nvidia back up to almost 188. It's now technically green on the day, despite the big fears and scary pre-market. Markets are up this morning. After the opening bell, at least. You can make money on YouTube. Well, yeah, you can, but it's not passive. Like I said, I'm up every day at 5:30 in the morning, my time. But that's mostly just because of what niche I'm in. Oh, I hate making actual videos. I hate editing. That's a pain in the butt, dude. I like streaming a lot more. I can just click a button. And then talk about stocks for 3 hours or whatever. Finance for 3 hours. Economics for 3 hours. And then close it down. Apple pushing up today as well, 273s. Again, very steep upward trend at the opening bell today. Yeah, all good, DG. How much money do you make with one stream? I'm not gonna get into it. I make enough, you know, to justify it for sure. Anyways, we're at 24,950s. All right, again, I'm watching 25,000. That's the big level I'm looking at. Honestly, this morning's movement has made my levels look condensed. We have just pushed up today. Hey, thank you, Tech. I appreciate it. He said, I appreciate your work, John. I tune in every day. Yeah, I mean, I just try to provide value. Like, I cover economic reports, and we have for years. Before a lot of other people started covering them, we've been covering them. And so some of the people don't really understand what they're covering. You know, they're just doing it because it's the cool thing to do. But we try to provide value. We cover economic reports every day. Government's been shut down for a month, though. So, but we're back up and running now. We're going to start to get some of those reports next week. All right, here's 25,000. 25,000. Google just broke highs of the, not highs of the day. Actually, I don't know, not highs of the day, but Google's almost back up to green on the day as well. It's 2/3 of the way there. I'm out. Scammers? Who's scamming on the chat? I don't see anybody. Again, we're just under 25,000. Just under 25K. Microchips are back up. Nvidia technically green on the day. MU is up. Meta is up. Google is up. They're not green on the day technically because we were so low, but they're green since the opening bell. Yeah, I see MU. It's ripping up. It's at 250. MU is actually technically green. AMD is almost green. Everything else is close, but we're definitely getting a big trend of up action at the opening bell. CoreWeave still down. It's about flat since the open. Starting to see the movement slow down a little bit. We're 30 minutes after the bell now, though. Music's too mellow? All right, I got you. Hold on. This is an old playlist. All right, we're testing highs again. Gold's still up to almost 4,100 again. Bitcoin at 96.5. Nvidia technically green. We're still waiting. Apple ripping up as well. Yeah, definitely seeing some green markets. I don't really see any much news this morning. China did warn citizens about visiting Japan in the near future. He said nationals to avoid traveling to Japan in near future, cites comments made by Takaichi on Taiwan. We're kind of slowing down, guys. We're 30 minutes after the bell, and we are up like a good bit in my accounts today. Like a really solid amount in my accounts. So because of that, we're probably going to shut it down. Again, check out Top Step. You want to help support the channel. There's no PDT in futures. You can day trade the S&P, NASDAQ, Dow, Russell, gold, all that good stuff. No PDT rule. Great way to learn when most day traders lose money. Again, y'all be safe. It's definitely been a wild market today. We'll see what happens for the rest of the day. We'll see if we get a big pullback. And again, it's been kind of a wild couple days in markets. We'll see if the market holds today, chat. Again, there's no PDT in futures. Check out Top Step. Again, I'll put the link up here one more time. They're my only sponsor. I'm biased, of course, because I get paid by them, but it's genuinely useful to limit your risk. Most day traders are going to lose the first couple accounts they trade realistically. And so why fund thousands of dollars into your own account trying to look cool? You know, it just makes no sense, in my opinion. I'm biased because I get paid by them, but it just makes no sense. And so again, we are starting to get dipped. Do I want to buy 24.9 for a retest of 25? I don't know. I think I'm just going to lock in my P&L on the day. We're pretty freaking green today, so I think I'm just going to sit on that and enjoy my weekend, guys. So again, as soon as I close the stream, if you want to sit around on the next stream and wait, you can do that. Markets are pulling back now. Do we bounce here? Before I go, do we bounce right now? Let me know. I'll see you guys later. Y'all be good. Have a great day. Again, understand all this stuff on screen. I'm not an investment professional. I'm not liable. If you lose, make your own assessment. Trade smart. Be safe. Appreciate the love today. Y'all have a great day.